"Grab her. Just hold still and it'll be quick and painless," shouted the unknown man. There were three of them. They looked at her tender neck with a gleam in their eyes. Eugénie was sleeping sweetly in her bed when in the middle of the night these rascals burst into her room. She thought, or rather was sure, that the worst thing they could do was to take advantage of her helplessness. After all, she had a profession to match, an expensive lady of the half-light. Of course, many poor men, having heard of her talents, wished to take advantage of the opportunity. But things turned out to be much worse than Eugénie had hoped. These men didn't want her body for nothing. They were executing an assassination order. In 1861st year, in a modest and dilapidated house located in the cozy town of Chambon-sur-Voise in Creuse, was born Eugénie Fougère. Her early childhood is unremarkable. About him did not preserve neither vivid memories nor intriguing events. However, having reached the age of 19, Eugénie, full of desire for independence, decided to start earning her own piece of bread. She left her native land and went to Montluçon, a small town in Auvergne, where she got a job as a waitress. The work, though not dusty, was very difficult. From dawn until late in the evening, she darted among the tables, taking orders from guests. Sometimes she had to fend off persistent patrons who began to show too much interest after a glass of wine. Eugénie had a natural beauty. Her swarthy skin, dark, almost black eyes, and shoulder-length curls attracted attention. Many called her the Liquorice stick because of her expressive appearance. One workday, when the usual hustle and bustle was in full swing, one of the customers called her over to his desk. "What can I do for you, monsieur?" Eugénie asked in a gentle voice, looking into the eyes of the guest. "I wish that a beauty like yours would not waste her time on plates and glasses for men," replied the stranger with a playful grin. "Not at all, monsieur. In our establishment, there are women in addition to men. It is the 19th century after all," Eugénie said sadly, her thin lips curving into a sad smile. It was not the first time she had heard such compliments. What did beauty matter if it didn't lead to something more? "You know, it would be hard for me to accept if I didn't take the chance to change your fate. I'm inviting you to Paris to become a model. I can't promise you anything. It won't be easy work, but such an amazingly beautiful face should shine at Fashion Week." Eugénie thought for a moment. She felt hope stirring in her chest. What if this was the chance she had been waiting for? Waiting and almost despairing that a better life was possible. Eugénie, full of hopes and dreams, moved to Paris, seeking to build a brilliant career as a model. Here she was known by various names: Nini, Delicate Fufu, or Liquorice Stick, all for her enchanting, swarthy skin tone. Officially, she worked as a model, but in the evening hours, her society was often made up of Russian princes and other celebrities who liked to spend time in the social circles of Paris. This mysterious stranger, who became her temporary lover, provided Eugénie with a comfortable standard of living. She opened the doors of resorts in Biarritz, popular with the French and Russian aristocracy, as well as Nice, Monaco, and Monte Carlo, where she gambled, not embarrassed to lose large sums of money. Eugénie was a passionate fan of expensive clothes and jewelry, the kind of treasures she could never have earned working as a waitress. In her collection was a necklace worth 30,000 francs, with which she proudly appeared at social events. In the summer, she liked to retire to the spa resort of Aix-les-Bains, where she enjoyed life in her villa. In 1903 years, spending time in one of the villas with friends, including Victorine Rosalie Giria, known as Nubianka, Eugénie attracted not only the attention of men, but also the envious glances of women. Victorine looked at her friend's jewelry with interest, now and then inadvertently inquiring about its value or trying to unobtrusively touch their shiny facets. Naive Eugénie did not see any malice in her friend's cunning eyes. Female friendship is sometimes extremely dangerous, especially when it is intertwined, envy and desire for profit. One night, her life was ruthlessly cut short. Eugénie was targeted not only by thieves, but also by Victorine, who decided to get rid of her friend for the tantalizing glitter of expensive jewelry. Driven by greed, Victorine hired 3 intruders with a clear objective: to obtain Eugénie's treasure by any means necessary. At the time of her tragic death, Eugénie was only 42 years old, and her life was full of bright moments. But that night was the last in her history. However, there was no room for surprises in the plans of the conspirators. That night, a maid who could recognize the intruders got in their way, and she too was not spared. It would seem that all the evidence was hidden, and the criminals slipped into the shadows. But a thorough investigation by the police soon led to Victorine and her accomplices. The villains were eventually apprehended. Only a paltry sentence of community service awaited them, which of course caused public outrage. And for Eugénie, the betrayal of her friend turned into a tragedy that cost her her life.